A season of suicides. I wrote this poem back in January. God's turned his dark mask to haunt us again. A vague imprint like a rictus hangs over history. He has placed his eye, that is invisible yet somehow solid black, like a horse's eye, countering the moon and the sun alike, radiating cold and hate. And like animals before the storm, we know somehow it's there. And like the desperation at deprivation, the breaking point at which we make a mosaic of schemes, we plead, we ascribe a wish, we make patterns for the formlessness, codify contracts as though he were a judge. No verdict. Merely an Argus constellation of black holes, stretching apart reality, an unassailable and inevitable mass, slowly undoing all that was done. Hypothesis to advance. Schizophrenia can merely be the unstopped speech of revelation, from the universal flaw underlying intellect, the inherited hasty conclusion that our ancestors jumped to. Death lingers around in the fall of the frost, in the shepherds lost in Afghan hills, hunters felled in Canadian pines. Most of all, the suicides. They are as certain as you get dead spiders round about November. The usual requisite mourning, the standard annual tax from enervating life. I will winter in Australia, if I ever become rich, to fly far from these winnowing days of this funeral procession month. At least the sky is clear, and if the windows mute the wind, you can pretend it is a clear day. Part 2. I'll tell you when I'll be proud. When I have lived a span of days without a sought at self-wrought end, in equity to the span of my life at which I have craved death. When my mind doesn't look towards pill-gun knife, till such a year as I've now lived twice, when I am a man sober from the lust of endings, that's when I'll be proud. All the years between are penance, self-imposed for cowardice, dishonesty, and selfishness. I weather the winters that are like Yomi until my evils crack and slip from my skin. I walk the suffering so as to learn the suffering that I cause, to know sin from every angle of the universe. And that false dominion of God, that opal raised to the spirit sky, that cenotaph that priests imagine to be his eye, will preside as motionless as it has ever been.